In the beginning of the episode, Jimmy awakens from a terrifying nightmare, and Larry wonders whether his tales are to blame. Larry made a graphic confession to Jessica Roach's murder in last week's episode, but he has now altered his tune and says it was all just a lie. Out of rage, Jimmy plays Larry, accusing him of lying and being a fraud. This works wonderfully, making him really agitated. Jimmy argues that Larry's explanations are hazy, and that his lack of involvement in the Jessica Roach burial indicates his innocence. This trick succeeds, and the would-be killer swears to Jimmy that he is telling the truth while now begging that he did carry out those horrific deeds. In order to properly establish his guilt, Larry asks Jimmy to meet with him later that day at the wood shop as they part ways. Larry has been captured by the drug dealer's spell, who used it to lure him in from start to finish. Jimmy, though, eats lunch by himself. The other criminals gossip about the informant, accusing him of wrongdoings from outside the canteen. Jimmy doesn't spend any time getting in shape in his cell to be ready for combat. He's running out of time and has no means to contact anybody or anything outside of himself because his phone credit has been locked. Jimmy's friend Carter, a dishonest guard, offers to help him with his various problems, but first wants to know who he is employed by. Jimmy's boss issues murder threats against him, adding to his woes. He needs to act now. What happens next is a clever, though extremely irritating, series of circumstances that push this conclusion into the 5-star range. When Jimmy and Larry first meet, Jimmy notices a map on the woodshop table right away. This map must only show the locations of Larry's victims, surrounded by a border of carved birds. 21 birds were created, one for each of Larry's victims, he explains. The show's name comes from sending the birds home for Gary to paint black. These souvenirs serve as watchmen for the deceased. Because Jimmy cared for the deceased, Larry said he felt sick to his stomach when Jimmy labeled him a liar. Unlike Jimmy, with his 80 flings, he remembers each victim and takes his passion extremely seriously. Jimmy can see the confession right in front of him, but you just know he won't be pulling out that map and marching to his therapist's office with that evidence anytime soon. Initially, the show enjoys torturing and teasing its viewers. Larry discusses Trisha Rietler and goes into detail about how she passed away. Everyone wants to be recognized as a celebrity, he says, as he takes stock of his activities. When Jimmy can no longer suppress his feelings, he begs Larry to tell the parents where their children are so they may finally grieve and be at peace. Just laugh it off, Larry. The murderer strikes while Jimmy yells at Larry, calling him a monster. The brawl is being broken up by the guards, but the suspicious map is still missing. Jimmy is carried off to prison, but his true torment has only just begun. In the most upsetting of circumstances, none of the jail guards accept Jimmy's version of events, and as he cries out for a pencil, the map begins to slowly fade from his memory. Jimmy is forced to create the map on his jail wall with his own blood since he has no other choice and must wait what seems like an eternity to be released. Gary receives Larry's map, and it is clear that the evidence was burnt. When Lauren and Brian pay him a visit, he says that the brothers have admitted to raping a hitchhiker in the past, but he won't tolerate Larry's deadly attitude. Jimmy is suddenly rescued from his captivity and sketches the map on a table for Lauren to see. He also describes some of Larry's confessions, like the 2 belts used to choke Jessica Roach and the way he wrapped up Trisha's clothing. Lauren claims that because they now have him, the proof will be sufficient. Jimmy is then released after serving the remainder of his sentence. As the court announces this decision, Jimmy sobs, and Taron Egerton, who portrays the shattered drug dealer, shines. Following Jimmy's reunion with his father, Ray Liotta gives a career highlight performance by sobbing upon seeing his son again. Give this man every honor possible. Larry attempted suicide after his appeal was refused, and we are told that Jimmy's father passed away 5 years after his release. When Gary visits his brother in prison, he comes to terms with the fact that Larry is a killer, which infuriates Larry more than anything else. Although the burial locations have not been discovered, further material details how Gary was able to get Larry to confess to 15 of the killings. After the disaster, Jimmy launched a prosperous business while Larry was sentenced to life in jail. As the series comes to a close, We are then shown still images of the two actual prisoners. It's a riotous finale that provokes real emotions and perfectly concludes this crime drama. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to comment, subscribe and give us a like.